Hello, it's the monk. Back for another video. You're thinking, wait a second, something changed. That's because whilst doing the first 3 minutes of the video, the game crashed. To keep you caught up, I'm continuing on with the military focuses. Northern Ireland owns Cork and Limerick. Oh, and West Russia's collapsing. So far, we get to see the Provisional People's Committee of Surgut, led by the Vysevoznaya Kommunistskaya Partia, which is the Soviet Union Communist Party Bolsheviks. Well, I think that's what its original name was. I may need to check that. The Free City of Yegorsk, led by Devoy in the Zakon Bandits again, led by Soslanbek Apayev, and there's actually two. The People's Republic of Ningxi Tagil under the People's Commissar of Vinutrenik Day. Translate. I actually know what these people's actual names are. I have to decide to. Okay, so whilst it's trying to decide to load, the other one is the Task Force Bogatur, or Operation Group Bogatur. That's basically what its name is in Russian. Reinforced party unity and negotiation with the nationalists. That's up and running. The Battle of Italy started. That's having its own problems. Any new states that I need to know of, because there's most likely going to be ones in here, so it's better just to wait and see. It's also going to be extremely laggy. Hi, a new Slavotsk, or Ural Military District, under Pavel Bantov. So somehow the Vortuga is still in it. Somehow. I wonder why they haven't broken off. Because there's nothing left to talk about. I don't know if these actually have to treat those like this. No. 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 I have to re-go with this, I guess. Thanks. Our soldiers require highly qualified guns for use in the field, and fortunately we have our World War II era rifles and whatever is left over from the lots merchants. We must hold trials, competitions to develop a new standard infantry rifle that can be mass produced for our men. Better guns means more of the enemy will be killed and to win the war. Prove our armored corps. The only available tanks we have are from the Second World War, and they do not compete with the armored force of Germany, Japan, and the United States. If we are to make a swift advance and blast our enemies to pieces, we need To improve the quality of our tanks significantly, we will hold trials to see who can produce the most effective armored tanks that we can use for the army. Hopefully the end result will be a tank that can compete with that of our opponents. Okay, I need to increase the army. Also, Wieczgorski. Yeah. Okay, can do you, but you in Cutlass. You in Mekon. And finally, get edge detection. Take when a person is edging. Haha. So you get the Black League. What do you know what that is? So this one first. Vori. Well, that's Voti. Vori. The Zakun. So they are led by thieves-in-law. So basically bandits or something. The use Naya Inis Cheskaya Partia, the All Union Communist Party. So this would be the Narodny Commissariat, the new Nutrenic Devil. The People's Commissariat of Internal Affairs. Alright. This is just Operation Group Boyaktar, led by Konstantin Pastanagov. This is just straight up anarchy. So yeah. RIP West Siberian Provisional Authority. Provisional has expired. Blow a kiss, fire a gun. Koronov hefted the gun, stock behind him. There it was. The defect he'd been warned about. Both was clear as day now. It bent just a little forward, forcing the shooter's position down by a hair's breadth. Perhaps it was acceptable in Zolots, where standards were as low as the Altai Basin dunes, but not here. He lowered the gun and began to pore over the blueprints scattered around him in a half blossom. Perhaps it had been the material, or perhaps there was a structural cause in sight. The latter would explain why the soldiers on the testing squad had complained being so bitterly about the loading and unloading drill. Something about the barrel then, but they reports had focused on the firing pin mechanism itself, so it couldn't possibly be that. Maybe the way the barrel interacted with the firing pin. Yes, perhaps the explosion of the shot has cracked something with it. Passing soldier yelled, Korolev! Hard at work? It's almost lunch, Korolev barely looked up, greeted him and told him it is no uncertain terms to go away. Soldier giggled, left. It was adorable the way Koronev, I think I've been throwing Koronov all day, it's Koronev, was so immersed in his work, he was blind to everything else. Absolutely adorable. Koronev's mind was far away, however, the rifle, as did all the equipment he'd been given, preoccupied him. Some solution needed to be found in the meantime. The barrel problem would probably need full rework of the design, perhaps even back to basic tests. The main problem, as he saw it was drooping. Perhaps yes, that would have to do it. Karev scribbled, put some extra stock on the rifle and tell them to aim higher. Satisfied, he nodded and went to the next rifle. Every soldier needs something to lean on. Strange. Alright. And with nothing else to do. Well, first, oh. New state has been born. 2 new states. Also, Omsk has no name. So, the provisional authority is dead. Spetsgruppe 5 exists. Or Special Group 5. And finally, the Vortuka Liberation Committee. Or Komitet Obsvobovendia Vortuki. Which could just mean Vortukan Liberation Committee, but let's check. It or was Denia or Kuti. The Committee for the Liberation of Vorkuta. Basically the exact same thing. So the Siberian Provisional Authority over there, the Task Force Boyagada there, Special Group 5 over there, and a bunch of other new warlords. The Ural Military District of Solovsk, the People's Republic of Nintsy Tagil, the Free City of Yugorsk, the Provisional People's Committee of Split, Christmas War, and the Vortukan Liberation Committee. This guy's Afghan Prime Minister. Again. Thank you. That guy's become leader of Brazil. Better tanks. Finally, Ministry of Defense. In the process of upgrading our military, it is imperative that we expand our general staff to meet the new army standards. He will have to provide our generals with updated data from battlefields around the world and keep them informed about the latest military training methods. We must also streamline the Ministry of Defense bureaucracy in order to improve the effectiveness of our leading commanders. After us, we get the Russian Republican Navy and the Russian Republican Air Force, or RRN or RAF. The new Hussars. It was, in the end, the budget that decided it from them on. Then all. Not tactics, not armor specification, not even the opinion of tank crews themselves. The budget simply he didn't have enough room for the addition of tank units to regiments of the existing armor corps. It would be necessary to consolidate their existing assets into a single unit and retain them day and night until they could perform the roles they missed. So the People's Hussar Division, as it was known, and no one could remember the actual name and reference, was formed, and the farmers and their sons and daughters watched the tanks move row on row into distant fields towards the base where they were to be christened in a new name and mold. There were failures, as there always were. A few of the new models fresh from the factory had broken down in muddy fields, and no one was yet sure if the equipment failure or a planning error that had brought them down. The rest of the models were dragged onto main roads and confined to purely motorized activities until something could be done with them. Time would tell if they needed rebuild or they would serve a supplementary function in a motorized corps. Even so, the base commanders noted the plates and the licenses of the tanks array. There was reason for celebration. This new division already had plans in the works for a full-blown multi-branch exercise, and some whispers that its commanding officer was a glory hound who would push men to the limit. There was a sense of general anticipation. This one, it was believed, would go far, and it would take the Republic with it. Let's hope it will make the difference. So we got a bunch of troops, basically. Alright, as I was originally planning, and completely forgot until just this minute, put troops around the borders. And whoever the hell this troop is. More developing. The Caucasus got melded back into the Soviets, Germans, whatever. Alright, stand down. For some reason, even though they control like a bunch of the government. Don't ask me, I have no idea. The ideas from these people are completely strange to me. What is? Thank you. That's been dealt with. I'm gonna do that. Let's go with the Navy first. Many years have passed since Russia had a Navy. Should she could be proud to be she could be proud of. Over 20 years ago, the Kriegsmarine ravaged the Soviet Navy in the Black Sea during the Second World War. The time has come for us to establish a naval force, like no other, one that can be proved capable of destroying enemies along at sea, long beyond before they could reach land. We will start by expanding our shipyards, recruiting the best available sailors of Russia, constructing the most up-to-date vessels. And nothing we can do there. Moving onward. The ministry's antics. There hadn't been a fist fight in the general headquarters for quite a while now, and so Korolikov was taken by surprise when the latest iteration broke out. It had been sudden too. One minute there was reasonable discussion regarding privatization or funding by giving the military research department. The next, full-on fistfights had been in progress with men in the middle age of both sides, struggling either to restrain or deck their peers. Korolikov cited another day in the Ministry of Defense and it assembled glories. Well, glories was a strong term, but he lacked another word for it. At least this paperwork would be used to the Republic, a paper drafted by one of the staffers on the movement to hybridize troops in the last of the West Russian War, and a note of how to make it applicable to the Republic's current situation. Pouring through its conclusion, Korolikov nodded, making notes in the margins. There was plenty of work to be done to bring the military up to parity with its contemporaries, and this would definitely help. A stubble-headed member of the General Staff, approached him, and Korolikov got up and showed formality. Sat down. I'm looking for paperback, something to fill the gap of someone's chair. Have you seen any spare binders? Preferably something slim. This will do. And the paperwork was snatched from Korolikov's desk. The general staff member retreated, and Korolikov kneaded his temples in frustration. This is the third day of promotion, and already he missed nothing more than the lowly status of his previous position. The Republic, he was certain, was doomed regardless, but at least he had been blind to it beforehand. My god, what a disaster. Okay, that's interesting. But anyway, moving forward. Where's my robot? Dark Hour Zones. Ban my robot. Pakistan Consensual Convention ends with the Pakistan Muslim League in charge under Feroz Khan Noon. Alright, hey. We learned oil processing. Yeah, there's a common bug where the name will just disappear. First saw it with Guinea, French victory over Guinea. Yeah, I think they fixed that. Get that, and first attack of the day. That's supposed to be like an anarchy zone, like this. Thank you. Oh. Now the Russian Republican Air Force. One of the most valuable lessons we have learned from the devastating Second World War was the importance of air superiority and close air support of the ground troops. Fortunately, the Soviet Air Force could not compete with the Luftwaffe 20 years ago. Soviet planes were often out of date and the pilots did not have sufficient training. We shall create a proper air force for Komi the Russian Republic, by building more air bases, recruiting top-of-the-line pilots, researching the latest models for fighters and bombers, and constructing powerful airplanes to wrest control of the skies and rain death on enemy cities. So America's winning. Alright, moving on. The Fisherman's Dream. Yefimova's father had whispered dreams to her when she was a child, dreams of shining fleets of ships flying the red insignia in unison. Each ship he had told her was bigger far bigger than the fishing junks they shared. They had guns, ammunition stores, quarters for dozens of people on each ship, and the burnished steel shone like gold in the sun rays, like some forgotten treasure brought to light. Of course, that had been a long time ago, he had whispered, and now the Republic's Hicks they were in was landlocked, and the dream for now was dead. But one day the great fleet will rise again, and Russia once again and take to the seas, perhaps, or now in her lifetime. But one day, Yefimova listened at the cold wind drifted about the junks, and she grew, she learned, she taught herself knotting, sailing, and drifting using only the stars and the harsh northern spirit for navigation. And she grew in wisdom. Her fishing fleet expanded from one to half a dozen. She had grown powerful, but when the Republic Navy had sent its letter of invitation, she knew that she had to do. A vision, after all, was worthless if not fulfilled. She wished that her father could see her now, standing upon the deck of the Republic's latest vessel. He'd always been foolish and perhaps a little too attached to the drink at the end, but he never wavered, and her dreams were still his dreams too. And watching the flag fly above the silver sheen ocean, gulls flying overhead, and as the engine swirled, Yefimova felt something in her heart glow. Her father, wherever he was, could rest now. His dream here is in the flesh. She was living it for him. Can you see now, Dad? I made it. The way they're describing it, it sounds like a destroyer or something. So why is the image a submarine? I know submarines do have turrets on them, but even then, that's for shooting down planes. The way they're talking about it's supposed to be like a destroyer, not a submarine. Just a small nitpick. Nothing to really destroy the thing about, but it is a bit weird. Anyway, time. No, wait. We have actually got a navy of 2 ships with our 3 general admirals. Somehow the leader of the Mamax People's Republic is an admiral, Lev Shestakov. So admirals are Lev Shestakov, Vladimir Chernavin, and Timur Gaidar. Somehow Lev Shestakov is the best one out of all of them. Damn. Troll the Barents Sea, I guess. Party unity. Moving on. Improved combat support equipment. Get basic motorized equipment. Learn some naval destroyers. some stuff happening in Indonesia. It's Kano 1, so it's a different color of red. Get depth charge mortars. You can see because it's a more deeper red, burgundy color. And the buy is the Suharto fleet. Interesting. Very. We also get a bunch of new training. Different nationalists. The National Coalition has taken over Ireland. That's finally finished, so let's visit Washington. Ever since our democracy was first formed in the ashes of the Soviet Union, one of our biggest diplomatic goals to someday meet the President of the United States to discuss global defense to the of liberty. Svetlana Stalina, our own President of the Republic, would like to establish a meeting with the US President Robert F. Kennedy, if he's still in office. Yeah, I think he's still in office. In Washington, we will take any opportunity to meet the wonderful American people, and if the post-summit goes well, it will be another diplomatic achievement. We can cross off. Fire support coordination, advanced development subsidies. Oh, got an edge detection, so it can detect when people are edging. Ahaha. Transistor computer. We'll get that. Negotiate with progressives because the nationalists have too much of high. Invest in construction. Alright, visit to Washington. Next, apply for OFN aid. Through our current diplomatic status with the OFN is quite limited, we can use some of foreign aid to continue building up our country. Our democratic government, located in the middle of ravaged Russia, should be enough to convince the OFN officials to grant us status as a prospective partner nation. It may be the first step on the road of becoming a proper defender of democracy like our American brethren. The US agrees to meet with us. The United States government responded to our proposal for a meeting between our presidents with a resounding yes. This is a major success for our diplomatic efforts and will undoubtedly raise our prestige on the world stage. We should prepare to plane a plane at once. Hopefully the government of the British Isles will allow us to use their airports. Huzzah! Our president visits the White House. Washington, Associated Press. President Svetlana Salina of the West Russian Republic arrives in Washington today for a multi-day state visit. After being greeted by the Secretary of State at the Washington National Airport, President Salina was driven to the White House, where she met the President of the United States White House, where she, according to a statement put out by the White House, topics discussion include the ongoing instability in Russia, possible unification and roles of a united Russia in the future of Europe, and furthering economic ties between the two countries. Afterwards, press were invited to take photos. It was clear that the West Russian Republic is both aligned with the United States and it's on the rise is the eyes of the free world, a triumph for diplomacy. We have mistakes. Here we go over that on and apply for open aid. The last crises of Europe. With the rapid expansion of ideologies like fascism and National Socialism, it has become increasingly important for democratic nations to band together during times of crisis, especially when we need to reach out any European democracies with democratic hand we can hold on to, and we must appeal for democratic relations with these rare countries. Together we will form a continual bulwark against the evil threat of authoritarian regimes. Those democracies would include Republic of Serbia, the Kingdom of Romania by a technicality, the Kingdom of Hungary by a technicality, the Slovak Republic, which technically is democratic, its rulers were elected, the Tsardom of Bulgaria, Macedonia, the Democratic Federal Macedonia, I would say Italy now because they're under a democratic leader, Kingdom of Montenegro, the Kingdom of Croatia, I guess you could say the French state, and the United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, that's definite, Norway, Sweden, Finland, although they most likely won't. The Iberian Union is debatable. Turkey if you push it, and also Reykjavik and Troy and the Faroe Islands. What one can't do is most likely the Kingdom of Denmark. Maybe we can do the Kingdom of Denmark, it's debatable. But Poland, Germany, Burgundy. I mean, we could get the Swiss. Can't get the Netherlands. It's debated if the Slovak Republic will actually join us or not, same as any other member of the German faction. Well, Greece might join, that's a good thing. Disappointing news come from Washington. While American government has noted our offer of basic rights on the White Sea as its benefits, they desire continue positive democratic diplomatic relations, the price tag was ultimately too high for them, justifying negotiating over agreement broke down. Unfortunately, they broke down quite publicly. Word of the failure has already made their way to the press, and some commentators are calling for the foreign minister to resign over the matter when the diplomatic row has and a lost potential financial lifeline. This has clearly been a major blow for our government standing. Why can't people just blame the Americans? It is their fault for not agreeing. I mean, it is a reasonable deal where you get Archangel's port. You get a bunch of ports of the Germans. That's more of a steal than anything. Oh, it's a German iron right there. You could easily just take over. The Chugdodong Grub is sadly passed away, while the great 8 members of the Axis. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, you most likely won't. Time moves on. War insurrection in China. I think I forgot to do this one. But I'm pretty sure. I think I know what it means. Russian Committee for National Reconstruction. So we got that. Now, cube recognition. Even though we are a regional power in Russia, some countries still see us as just another warlord state. But technically, you could say it's true, and there are a lot of them. Diplomatic recognition is the first big step in becoming a relevant world power. Defender of democracy we aspire to be. We must call upon the nations like the USA, Iberia, Britain, and Italy and convince them that we are a legitimate state and deserve diplomatic recognition. Do we have a thing to do in here, or is it just a thing that will happen? I think it's just a thing that will happen, which will wait to do. Whereas time passes. Oh, do you want to save? Yeah, credits rising. That's quite interesting. How long is this video? It's just under an hour. Damn, we got a lot of stuff done, and it's only we're just 9 minutes from the hour point. Depth charges, mortars, found and fine. And next we'll get some smoke generators. Those good old-fashioned smoke screen. For recognition, embassy funding. Now that we have received diplomatic recognition, we haven't, from some major world powers, technically from the US, we need to establish our formal embassies in each country that recognizes us as a legitimate state. We will have to set aside our budget, parts of our budget, and maintain these embassies, but we will also enjoy full diplomatic relations with several leading nations. It is a small price to pay for a spot on the world stage. Okay, that's a lot of people not recognizing us. Then private message from Washington. The government of the United States officially recognizes the West Siberian as a sovereign state and treats us conduct alongside help to secure the world stage. Now Colombia. Manager from Madrid claiming citing the instability of Russian difficult logistics, established diplomatic relations, yada, and ambition. We didn't need to kill anyway. Got a lot of discontent for our current government. The UK didn't agree with us because of the same thing. Italy didn't recognize us because of the same thing. Maybe someone else will. We got one guy. That's it. So you don't get Spain, Britain, or Italy, but somehow the rest of the democratic states don't recognize us. We get recognized by the US. At least get recognized by someone. So that's a good thing, I guess. The new general, Ivan Zaitsev. You will guard the 7 Urals from the chaos that's in the Urals itself. Or whatever it decides to hear from it. US might need to punch up party unity. Call for investment. Our treasury can only pay for so many projects. We started to transform this country and now time to roll up the investments. Thankfully, we can negotiate a deal with new countries that have recognized us, the US. We can assure these countries that if they decide to invest in our republic, our debts will be paid back tenfold and every country involved will be benefited, which would just be the US. Okay. They suppose he has an embassy in the US. That's it. the death of Prime Minister Drela Rochelle. Learned some more. Some smoke generators, now some World War II sonar. Okay, that's done with. I guess before we go into political, let's do some economical. See what I did there? Russian economy. After over a decade of German troop terror bombings and the chronic insecurity caused by raids of rival warlords, economic activity in our corner of Russia is on life support. Know that our government, pardon me, is stable, pardon me, and we have control over our own borders, pardon me. Resurrecting the economy will be a priority for the new government. Get improved fire control. Thank you. And let time move on. Colombian Civil War. The formation of the Comintern, Russian economy. The Ironov session. Sergei Ironov nodded politely. He at the bumbling middle-aged lady waiting for the sobs. Her high cough in a child to die down. Like high coughing to in a child to die down. To die down. Let's say quiet down. Possibly. Ivanov murmured, "We are terribly sorry for your losses, Madame Lyakova. The last few years have been harsh on all of us, on us all, but my heart bleeds for you and your son. Mention of her son seemed to sweep Lyakova into a fresh wave of sadness. My son, how will he be employed? With his hand, how I ask you, and with the latest layoffs. Yes, caught in a organ riding at a machine job. I'm told that the shop has shut down for lacking money, so it eases your heart, madam. The men whose neglect hurt your son are no longer at large to do so. As the madam sniffed, Ivanov gestured frantically to the audio crew to wrap this up in a nice little closing segment, and they could begin the work of clearing the woman's voluminous tears out of her seat and the table. Goodness, this would certainly leave a stain. As the latest budget of the Republic suggests continuing economic downturn and the next three physical quarters, women like Lyakova find business shutter their revenue fleeting to the four winds, and as Russia workers struggle, and the question is not whether the government will act on rebuilding the economy. I have not paused for a drastic effort. The question is whether the government will do it by itself or if the working man of Russia must force their hand. Thank you for joining us today. This has been Sergei Ivanov reporting from Radio Free Russia. And now for a word of our sponsor. Bad economy grows worse. What's new in Russia? So let's go down the aid of the agricultural sector. Aid the agricultural sector. Cut off the outside world by a constant turmoil. Russian farmers have suffered long and difficult years between the lack of the feed, modern equipment, infrastructure, and customers that the agriculture sector has been squeezed for all sides. Without a steady influx of food from a strong farming base, building up the country is impossible. It is for this reason that agriculture aid is necessary for the economy improvement through extensive subsidies, loans, icons, and other forms of financial assistance. The government can revitalize the Russian agricultural sector, and not soon enough, as the growing cities teem with hungry mouths to feed. We need as much food as we can. Start creating food system. I'm gonna get rid of these. Force party unity. The party unity is going down heavily. Failed military coup in Ecuador. That's been done. Get crew transport helis. The third revolution in Ecuador. Damn, I've been revolting in Ecuador. The National Recovery Initiative. The PSD has a great plans for rejuvenation of the Russian nation and people, but none of that will come to fruition without mobilizing the people for the cause. The government will establish sweeping programs for public works, industrialization, and defense construction to enlist people in the projects of rebuilding the republic where private enterprise shies away and the people will step in and the government will reward them for their labor. Boost the PSD. Get the 3 back as active to the pharaohs. Get rid of you. Stimulate local business. While our detractors often charge the PSD cares little for private industry in favor of state-owned economy, nothing could be further from the truth. We recognize that we are not infallible or all-knowing. Private enterprise will always be more effective at identifying the meeting economic needs of the local level, far removed from the specific needs of the state in defense, infrastructure, and natural resources. We do not need to seek the control over every aspect of economic life in the Republic. Indeed, we encourage the people to embrace the spirit of competition, to have a vested interest in their own prosperity. In this regard, all the state should do is create incentives for Republic's entrepreneurs to invest in the economy and provide access to capital for those who seek to start a business of their own. Get this guy, put him on here. And you and time. Labour Party realized in New Zealand sort of thing happened. Game. Thank you. Yeah, the Colombian Revolution Unions won that one. Yeah, expand rural opportunities. So the key characteristic of modern society is the productivity of the agricultural sector, with machines doing the work of hundreds of field hands in half the time. This is not to say that we discourage the work of the honest farmer. Far from it. Most Russian farmers live hand to mouth, and equipment, tools, and outdated machinery, forcing a reliance on manual labor. Oftentimes, their own children, the future of our nation. We must invest in the means of agricultural production and subsidizing efforts in new technological and labor savings and contraptions to improve productivity, ensure farming profitability, and give hope to farmers that they are working towards a brighter future. So basically, you're doing the opposite of what Labour is doing currently. Aha. Also, I'm still continuing with uh, commenting on every Paralive video. So I started a month ago, or maybe two. I don't remember. You most likely can't find them, most because it keeps on getting buried by the algorithm of comment sections. Also, this has happened. The Gorna Dzimaya agreement, which is a forged by Macedonia, Bulgaria, and Gorna, saying Bulgaria unites once more. Under the new agreement, Bulgaria and Macedonia will treat each other equal partners and no federation. Feel from their own policies and tried. Chimera shall never have formed. A chimera that should never have formed. So Macedonia is now a puppet. Also, somehow they're now in the Italian economic sphere. How did that happen? Who knows? I have no idea. Okay, moving on. China won against the world state because Yunnan is technically too hard to actually win against. The subcontinental crisis. I think I know what this is. We did a opposite to Labour. Basically, it's the Channel crisis, except it's in the Indian subcontinent, and Japan's Germany in this case, and Germany is the USA, and Britain in this case is Pakistan, which is ironic because a lot of Pakistani people live in Britain, but I digress. And India is Operation Sea Lion number 2. Anyway, developed for modern Russia. Meant for modern Russia. Our state exists in a dangerous neighborhood with the Germans on the west and a motley collection of pretender states in the east. That is technically true in our case, since the collapse of the West Russian Provisional Authority, there are a bunch of new states. Will private enterprise and free competition will continue to encourage within will continue to be encouraged within the Republic. We don't have the luxury of waiting for economic development. From the bottom up, modernity will come to Russia under the leadership of the PSD and the strong guidance of the state-owned enterprise. Its crucial sectors complementing its private companies. We will know no other choice, even if there will be sacrifices asked for the people and workers alone. Anyway, moving forward. Finland. That's happened. That's happened. Reinforce party unity. At least we're now centrist. Early cruisers been learned. Damn. Maybe this time the Colombian Revolutionary Union may actually win the Colombian Civil War. That's a new thing. Usually you have to cheat for it to win. Damn. Well done, Colombia. I guess. Get a battle hold. Need to make more dockyards. That's a thing. Armies are better. Russia developed. Prize state development. Getting economy off the ground is a Herculean task in any developing country, even more so in an economy like Russia, reeling from years of conflict. The PSD have decided the state must utilize its coffers and manpower to jumpstart the new economy by establishing a state-owned enterprise to develop critical sectors of the economy and to advance key infrastructure projects throughout the Republic. Some would call this inefficient, arguing that the state would run these projects at a loss. We answer that nobody else is willing to lay foundations of a modern Russia on an economy, and unless they have better ideas, they can stay out of the way. Alright. get infantry weapon equipment number 4 or 6, whatever. That. Prioritize state interest. The resources of the motherland. Territory of Russia is rich in natural resources, oil, minerals, and crops. Too often, however, these resources are used as a means of personal enrichment of varying warlords, without care for the development of the modern economy. Now that the public is exerting control over a growing swath of Russian territory, we should establish a government agency to take stock of the bounties of Russian soil and to ensure that they are directed for the good of the state and its people. Your troops to the front. No more time to pass. Done. And that's also done. So you get infantry equipment. And you get consolidating state the defense industry. If the Russia Republic will take the fight to the other pretender states in the east and eventually the Germans in the west, it is essential that we have a defense industry capable of supplying the vast quantities of equipment for the new model military will require. This cannot be through small enterprise and cottage industries. We must think larger, considering our various arms manufacturers to unlock the economies of partial national of scale necessary for growing republic through partial nationalization and state-guided mergers. The PSD government will ensure that our soldiers will never want for bullets or quality equipment. Revolutionaries win Colombia. That's interesting. Subcontinent escalates further. Ooh. And other stuff happens too. Moving on. Army coup in Peru. So Peru's now a Japanese thing. Get them through attack helis and move on. This guy's appointed president of Turkey. We got that done. Roads across Russia. But a nation without infrastructure is a nation in name only. Benefit of connection. I was supposed to say benefit of connection that allows for commerce and travel. The country is divided. The people concerned and the people's concerns solely local. Russia was once far more connected than it is now. Years of bombing warlordism has caused a retreat. Citizens refuse to stray further than the immediate places of residence, although they have been minor improvements of local government build of their own. Thus, much of the country remains far behind the Soviet era in the regards. If Russia is to re-emerge onto the world stage, the Republic needs to forcibly tackle the crisis. The vitalization of our roads infrastructure will allow commerce to expand and fuel economic growth, and as well as incapable improving of the lot of ordinary people through expansion of the work opportunities. So what's the time? So once I finished this tree and maybe this tree, I'll end the video. It'll be quite a long one, as it's already hitting the 2 hour mark. Expo 67 has happened. Also, you'll probably hear my mic dying, or my headphones dying. They cannot last the entire period. So if you see a Revolutionary Cabrillo of Colombia, it's inaugurated. If the sound quality dies during the video, that's mostly because the audio from the headphones has changed from the headphones to the computer. That's probably why. Also, it seems that Cameroon's definitely victorious. The world stage, that's happening, and Ethiopia and the Armada League are beating each other up. Who owns Addis Ababa or Finfinne? economy for us all. An economy improvement takes Russia into a modern age. We must be careful to avoid the concentration of increased material wealth into too few hands. The economy is growing, particularly in the urban areas, with potential for leaving rural locations behind. The business often invests so much in improving physical capital and managerial salaries that they leave nothing for the citizens, as all the veterans of Svietska's turbulent political scene now own equality caused resentment, which can be frequent due to leads of political instability. Keeping the wealth from becoming excessively concentrated naturally requires the government action. Welfare programs, stringent regulations, and taxation on unscrupulous businesses should keep inequality in check, ensuring the Russia's prosperity is truly enjoyed by all. Time moves on. That's done. They've won the Hungarian election. I have done coming out the last things on that. Cameroon's destroyed basically everyone in there. Yeah, fine with the previous. What was the first view? Present construction is upgraded. Get military base construction. There you go. One again. No, never mind. Later. The time pass. The front wins West Africa. There was a bunch of communist states there. The only ones that aren't puppets are Mali and Ghana. And this is a liberated state. Before we go on to Politico, we will do Educational. Every section of the Russian society has been impacted by the long war, but none more cruelly so than its children. And the new generation knows nothing other than poverty, danger, and upheaval. Even such a simple luxury as an education like their parents had is unattainable. A decline in education level is a slow-moving crisis. That if it goes unsolved, will cause a serious shortage of skilled workers in the years to come. Building, funding, and improving schools across the Republic is both an ethical and economical solution. It fulfills national development goals, whilst increasingly opportunities for millions happens, nothing will signify Russia's slow but sure return to normality more than the masses of children filling classrooms for the first time in a generation. I'm probably sure I said some words wrong, so sorry if I did so, but anyway, an educated populace. That is about it back in Ethiopian hands. Also, going to be a revolution in Jamaica, led by. See, if you didn't know, if the US rejects Jamaica's bid to leave the West Indies Federation, Japan will help them by helping train this is a bit weird, but go with me. Will train Jamaican rebels in Honduras, in Honduran deserts, and when they're ready, the Honduran cartels will sail them over into Jamaica where they'll liberate the city. Afterwards, entire thing will collapse in on itself. Well, it will mostly do so. In doing so, usually the Trinidad-Tobago region will collapse into a black power revolution, and you get two allies out of the Caribbean. I mean, you do all these other island bits, except possibly Grenada, do become their own independent nations, but two of the major islands that you should really care about. The major islands, these two, because this one has the capital and this one is the largest out of the entire group of the islands, have basically been nulled. Plus, also, if you try, you have to move from through here to around through these islands. Plus, also, it kind of stops support from these islands going from here to Haiti. You said you have to go straight to Haiti, which is possibly a bit hard. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, resume battleship development. Germany abandons Pakistan. Pakistan is invaded from near border skirmish to a full-on invasion. South Africa starts an Antarctic territory, which no one will care about. I gain a new soldier who will be fighting in the front lines against the Chaos Zone, that's now the Urals. You. There's an autosave that's going to crash my game. Please. Thank you, God. Gain 2 more troops. Send them back to the front lines. So there's bandit troops now. Anarchy troops. It's just poured in Beloretsk. Standardize the schools as we embark on our mission to improve the education of one sore issue sticks out immediately. Curriculum and educational standards vary enormously between schools across the Republic, as distance, inequality of resources, and the lack of communication between localities drives them further apart. Schools that do not adequately educate their students are scarcely better than schools that are at all. Potential is great for a wild skill gap to develop between various regions of the country. Many of these problems stem from the lack of a widely penetrating central bureaucracy. The government can do a far better job of setting and enforcing standards than a disparate array of local educational arrangements that exist currently, and it must if the Republic less advantaged children are to get a better lot in life. Running low on drink. The Hind is invading Pakistan. I wonder what happens if Pakistan wins. I think they'll just stay independent. Liberal fall to patriot. It's in the constitution. The Republic of Hindustan has conquered Pakistan, getting it all the way to the Iraq. If you want to know something funny and political crisis, although we need to expand it more, to be honest, because it's kind of dull. Anyway, a generation of engineers rebuilding the country. It is a tireless endeavor, although enormous numbers of skilled workers, engineers, chiefs among them. Without them, it would be impossible to erect bridges, lay down the vast lengths of road, design military vehicles, or perhaps other of the staggering variety of tasks necessary to keep a society running. However, an engineer are of short supply in Russia, owing to a large generational diminishment in the education capacity, and there are far too few to satisfy the exponential growing demand. Increasing attendance in the engineering programs is not just a matter of economics, it is a matter of national security. Through subsidies of private schools and the establishment of new public technical schools, government can encourage the reformation of new generations of bright young engineers who will take their country to the tenuous heights. Moving on. French Civil War. The only chance for the French resistance to actually reclaim their nation. and the Pan-African community has been created. So our fighters are the milice, backed by the Germans, the National Reconciliation Movement, supported by the Italians, French Communists, supported by General Communist Organization, the Secret Army Organization, fighting for themselves and a free France, French state, fighting for themselves, the National Revolutionary Group. I'm not sure if it was actually the Germans are supporting. I think the Italians support the National Reconciliation Movement, but I don't know if the Germans support the milice or the National Revolutionary Group. One of the two. French resistance fighting for free France, and that's all. The hidden armored. French state easily destroys the Secret Army Organization. But can they fight against the others? Can only say. But it seems the French revolutionaries have a strong hold in the Milesian territories, Masayan territories, and the National Reclamation Authority is easily taking control of the south of France, as the Italians wish. Alright, all the economic done, the military done, and even the international done. Now for the politico. So economic code done, military code done, and international code done. Now politico. Freedom, sovereignty, and patriotism. Savado, Servietet, et patriotism. Basically, freedom, sovereignty, and patriotism in Russian. The motto of the Sovereign Democratic Party. We are a party of strength. We are a party of sovereignty. We are a party that fight for all people, and the most of all, we are the party for a strong Russia that works for all the citizens. The people know our platform and have given us a broad mandate to carry out. Let's not disappoint them by going back on our promises. Funny enough, the party Putin's the leader of the United Russia Party has the exact same look, or a very close look, like the Sovereign Democratic Party, or the PSD does, which I think is kind of funny. So we go down here first, then go down here. Wait, no. Go down here first, then no. Go down here. So go down this way first, then go down this way. And then for this way, then finally go down this way. French state is defeating some things. So, French state has destroyed one other faction. French resistance is just destroying these guys. And now we go to a democratic center. The PSD stands for many things. For freedom and democracy, sure, but for moderation above all, and the people of Russia do not need radical extreme solutions for their problems. Demagogues have destroyed their country, and they do not wish for another one. They want sensibility and reasonable solutions for that don't affect their lives anymore. But than that than necessary. The PSD is at the center of the policies and abhor extremism in all forms. Democracy and moderation is the guiding principle, and we will draw a hard line against anyone who goes against it. To write a speech, slowly aside as she looked tumultuous, suggested by her upcoming speech, who had been thrown onto her desk. Then she has looked through the working on Unite Russia, worked through Better Tomato, democracy. She hadn't imagined fools throwing themselves around relevant issues instead of looking at the bigger picture. The biggest point of contention lately has not been the military strategy or anything actually had any meaning. No, the bureaucrats were battling it over the redemption of Russia. She needed to cement the state position, otherwise the Republic would still be babbling on the culture of the year 2000. Looking over suggestions of opening her speech, those who reside from our controlled areas of Russia are contrasted by the one people's. One of the left pros was those who reside under our control area in the Russian Republic, and contrasted the one and on the right who declare that they should address the most loyal Russians of the empire. And it went on like that, paragraph and pages through of what some rest of critique she has given. She believed on both sides that how deep her voice was held the utmost importance. One considered educator wrote in a frantic pace and about how speaking deep voice would seem imperialistic. A miner who had learnt the letter just to write to her pleaded and spoiled Russian, and that she acted as a man. Stalina having wasted her night, tossed a pile of waste basket for a speech. She already knew the general idea of what both sides of the party wanted. The left pandering to progressives caused and pluralism, the right lip service to a strong Russia. She reeled her opinion. She little care for actual issues, but the right were presently a more powerful ally. It would anger the leftists, sure, but perhaps they didn't quite matter all much anyway. As long as Russia could be united under a free republic, it didn't matter who she stiffed. Decided, she finally began to write. My fellow Russians, I address you today. There we go. Got the PSD, the Sovereign Democratic Party, on equal footing, more or less. Watching fronts fight each other is somehow now becoming more entertaining than looking at them. I'm pandering so much to this most because the previous time it crashed. Troops got Kellys. Sokoto is the Germans are the West Africans are invading Sokoto. The Niger now exists. Or the Socialist Republic of the Niger River, whatever. Hospital construction. They are Kun Lao. We're fully unified. Improve weapon improvements. The Sommucho has taken over Manchuria. This is a new thing. The Manchukuo Komuswin. Also known as the Reform Bureaucracy. After the death of Puyi, that's new. Alright. You fight protecting the borders and them. Other thing gives East Africa independence. So what does it look like? It looks like that. Centralized election administration. Fair and free elections must ensure throughout our republic, and that means fraud cannot be tolerated. We will establish non-partisan agencies tasked with rooting out the eliminating election fraud, corruption. Election administration will be placed under the federal control, although we will make exceptions for local administration in minority republics. Vote rigging and other such actions are a threat for the legitimacy of our democracy and will be eliminated. So the new states that have come out of this are Popular Republic of Mozambique, led by Samora Machel, who was known as a warlord. And also led by the Mozambique Liberation Front, or FREMLO. Zambia, led by Kenneth Kaunda and the United National Independence Party. The East African Federation under the East African Socialist Union, TANU, under Julius Nyerere. So take this. I am recording. How may I help you?
Are you going to make yourself some tea, or you're not bothering?
I will.
Right, because it's getting late, that's all. You've been recording for ages.
Oh, sorry.
Alright, come down when you're ready. The shop will be here in a minute as well.
Alright.
Okay, bye.
Right. Okay, I should have checked the time. Okay, I should have checked the time. It's getting kind of late. So, you're Uganda. Bye-bye. Apollo, militant ability of the Ugandan People's Congress, Kingdom of Rwanda, under the House of Aba New Guinea of Kigali V, and Kingdom of Burundi under the House of Bamigese of Mwambutsa IV. So it's going more socialist route, so that's why many socialist states. Also, after this okay, plan changed. It seems that I'm going to have to end it here at the 2-hour mark, which a lot of people have been asking for. I think some people like my videos being longer. Anyway, so I have to end it here because it's getting kind of late and I want tea. So with that, I must make you adieu. So this has been Mount Unlimited signing off. Hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then, and bye bye.